You know, in 2016, sometimes reality is a difficult concept to grasp. What's even more difficult to grasp for someone as old as I am is virtual reality. But our next guest is going to tell us all about it. Ned Atkins, marketing producer of Upload VR.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So for those of us for whom Oculus Rift was just a major revelation, doesn't give me a headache, first VR that doesn't, what does Upload VR do and how does it relate to what we know as virtual reality?
So Upload exists to accelerate the VR industry and the success of that industry by supporting the entire VR ecosystem. And we do this in a number of ways. The first is our media brand. So similar to TechCrunch or other editorials, we push out 10 to 15 articles a day that cover the news of the space. And we also have a VR AR co-working space that just launched this past March, which is located in San Francisco. And there's 34 different VR and AR companies working out of our office. And we also have an education arm called the Upload Academy, which is a coding academy for students to learn how to code in VR, and we produce in partnership with Make School.
Now, originally you are from Southern California, correct? But now you and your whole family are up here. You've been in San Francisco how long?
I've actually been in San Francisco since May 1st.
So just a few months. So you are part of the whole new tech generation that is transforming the industry.
Totally.
How big is VR?
VR right now is not too big, actually. The industry feels fairly small. Like when you go to events, you run into the same people, you know? It feels like...
And they're all wearing an Oculus Rift, right?
They're not all wearing an Oculus Rift, actually. Oculus Rift is just one of many headsets. So there's also HTC Vive. There's PlayStation VR. And then you can go into AR with HoloLens and Meta. But HTC Vive tends to be one of the favorites within the industry currently because of the 3D touch controllers and the ability to have truly immersive motion-tracked applications. Oculus Rift is not releasing 3D motion-tracked controllers until later this year.
So for people who are uninitiated in VR, give us a dummy's guide to virtual reality. What is virtual reality? When did it start, and what are its practical, marketable applications as far as Upload is concerned?
Okay, so what is virtual reality? Virtual reality is when you can immerse a user inside of a virtual world, and you can feel present in that world. So a word we use a lot is presence, and that means that you feel like you've been transported to another place virtually. The most common way to achieve this is by wearing a headset. So the VR headsets today, like the Oculus Rift, like the HTC Vive, essentially is a high-definition screen that has accelerometers and motion tracking elements. So no matter which direction you look, the computer is updating the image in real time. So that gives you the illusion of being able to look in any direction.
Right, like so if I had on a virtual reality headset right now, and I turned this way, what I'm going to see isn't going to track slower. I'm going to look, and it's going to look, and it's going to follow with me.
Right.
So a few weeks ago, with my subscription to the New York Times, an old-fashioned piece of paper, I got this cardboard thing, and we were able to download a virtual reality app. And my husband, who's a techie, was all excited about it and said, this isn't going to be great. And he was impressed because the quality was better than he expected. How quickly is the quality in virtual reality really becoming something that's solid?
Very quickly. I mean, a lot of it's depending upon computer power, right? GPU specifically. So with Moore's law, that's doubling almost every 18 months. So you're seeing a rapid increase in mobile VR quality. In just a few months, Google Daydream is going to be much more widespread, which is basically Google's initiative to make Android phones Daydream ready or VR ready, which means essentially that all of your mobile phones are going to start to be optimized for VR content.
Right, so that's exactly what I was talking about. So we got this device with our subscription to the New York Times, and Alfredo hooked it up to his iPhone and put it on his face and took a tour of the solar system. So soon, virtual reality will be as easily accessible as a smartphone.
Exactly. That's
now,
exactly
where is the technology now? Is it happening just for some smartphones, or is every smartphone going that way?
I'd say every smartphone is going that way. Right now, Samsung Galaxy is the lead, mainly because they partnered with Oculus to create a specific type of mobile headset called a Samsung Gear VR. Apple is still quiet on the subject. Apple iPhones are compatible with Google Cardboard, but they have not announced their own type of VR housing device, like Samsung has with Oculus and the Gear VR.
So this is going to have huge societal impact.
Totally.
I mean, I already almost hit 5 people a day when I turn right on my corner because they're listening to their headphones. What's it going to be like when they're wearing Oculus Rifts? I mean, pedestrian deaths are going to soar. Well, I mean, I'm only being half silly.
People should not be wearing VR headsets while driving.
Yeah, but you know we're going to see it.
We're going to see AR headsets in driving. So that's a separate topic. But for day-to-day life, AR is actually going to be more life-changing.
And AR stands for altered reality?
Augmented reality.
Okay.
So you can think of VR as completely immersed, right? You have the VR headset, you cannot see anything but the virtual world. With augmented reality, you are augmenting the reality around you with computer-generated objects. So it works by both 3D scanning the world live and then placing computer-generated objects in that world.
So where does Pokemon fit into this?
So Pokemon Go is debatably AR. So
right.
It's AR in the sense of, when you're looking at the Pokemon app, it kind of gives the illusion that, that Pokemon is there.
Is right there.
Exactly, and that's part of the fun.
It's an artificial thing.
It's an artificial thing, so that is partly AR. The difference is with real AR headsets or more sophisticated AR equipment, it's a complex 3D scanning algorithm. So if I put a Pokemon right here, and then I picked up this mug, and I moved it towards myself, the mug would occlude the Pokemon with the real AR headset.
So the 10% set could become a Pokemon destination?
It very much could so, yes.
Producer, idea. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So, all kidding aside, I mean, I'm being purposely flipped because this is a major technological leap. As you said, using, was it Moore's Law?
Moore's Law, yeah, the doubling of computing power. Processing power.
How much is it now?
I believe it's 18 months.
Right.
Every 18 months it doubles, so it's exponential growth. And with that, I mean, right now, so if you look at the high-end VR headsets, which is the HTC Vive and the Oculus Rift currently, PlayStation VR very soon, those require a high-end gaming PC to run. Right. So, and those PCs cost upwards of $1,500 to $2,000.
Right, but using, computer technology as a guide, they're not going to be that expensive.
They're not going to be, and pretty soon those PCs eventually, right, the high-end gaming PCs of today that are running the Vive and the Oculus will eventually be able to fit inside of your smartphone. Right. And then eventually you won't need to tether a VR headset to a PC at all because the entire computer will be able to fit inside the headset. Right. Now that's a number of years away, but that's the direction that we are heading.
Right, so the movie Surrogates with Bruce Willis a few years ago, is that world physically, I'm not saying it's desirable, is that technology physically possible within 5 years?
I wouldn't say 5 years. I would put it a little bit further out than that, probably like 15 to 20 years, where I feel like that kind of technology really will take off with artificial intelligence and singularity and being able to render large-scale simulations. Right,
right. So now Upload VR is the place where if I want to learn more about this is where I go.
Totally.
So you're putting out stories every day. You're a news source. You're like the New York Times or whatnot about VR. So who are the people writing for you?
We have about, let's see, about eight people on our editorial staff. They're all over the country. We even have one in the UK. And they spend all day both researching events that are happening, like Apple's keynote today, seeing if there's any VR-related news, and then just writing about it. And we have a really awesome work culture, and we're just like constantly encouraging even employees like myself to bring stories to our editorial team. Right, like, hey, we heard this.
About 10 years ago, when the internet really just started to explode, there were a series of stories about how the LGBT community was considered quote-unquote first adopters, first adapters even, of new technology. Are you finding in any way that true, that the LGBT community is somehow gravitating to virtual reality any more than the non-gay community?
Well, I am a gay person myself, and I'm gravitated towards VR, but I don't know if that's really.
So
like
you're a gay geek.
Yeah, I don't know if I could really spread that out to the entire gay community. I wouldn't say that I see more LGBT people at VR events than I do other events, but at the same time, I could just be missing them. Right. So I mean, I don't really know actually.
And you don't code yourself?
I do not code myself, not yet.
Not yet. So you want to learn it?
I would be open to learning it. Right now, I'm really focused on scaling Upload and pushing the business forward, but I'm always open to learning new things.
So now, in this space that you have down at 11th and Mission?
11th and Mission.
11th and Mission. You've got people coming in learning how to build virtual reality worlds.
That is one thing that we do, yeah. So we have an education arm, which is consisting of both an 8-week academy course that we made in partnership with Make School, and then 3-day Intro to VR weekend courses that we host around once to twice a quarter in San Francisco. And we always advertise that on our website and social media pages. So if you like us on Upload VR, on our Facebook page or Twitter, we're always posting about when we're hosting another workshop. And those are paid workshops that people, they buy tickets for, and they sit for 3 days. And we have expert teachers that come in and TAs, and they play in VR and they learn to code, and they actually build a functional VR game in 3 days.
Right. I'm going to ask you a totally politically incorrect question.
Totally.
How old are you?
I'm 23.
23. I've got a jacket that's about that age. Anyway, for a 54-year-old, how is virtual reality going to change my life versus for a 23-year-old or even a 33-year-old who's beginning or mid-career?
So the way that virtual reality is going to change everyone's lives is through the transfer of information and how you learn new things. So VR is a medium, just like video, just like photography. And VR in particular has unique abilities of it's unbelievably powerful in teaching people new things and immersing people inside of worlds and experiences.
So could this have an implication for the medical community?
Yes, yes. Anytime you're transferring information to another person, VR and AR are extremely powerful mediums and tools in order to do that. So if I wanted to walk you through how to repair your car and we're remote, and you were wearing a Microsoft HoloLens, that HoloLens would be able to 3D scan the engine and pull up a diagram right next to you along with my image in a video chat window where I'm walking you through and I say, look at that, and I can highlight the part of the car. In the healthcare industry, you could imagine the same thing. You're conducting surgery remotely, and you have an expert surgeon that you can call in, and he can guide you through it, and he can actually augment your vision. And so he can select, this specific organ or this specific capillary or on your vision itself rather than you going between two mediums, because reality is the medium. In a similar way, virtual reality is the ultimate tool for practicing anything. So I have a science background, and previously, I worked at WorldViz, which is a virtual reality company that focuses on academic research. So I got a huge, a lot of experience in understanding the full gambit of what universities are doing with VR. And it's truly fascinating. Everything from looking in the mirror and seeing an avatar age, and you watch yourself age in the mirror, and then those people who go through that experience invest more in retirement savings accounts.
I can skip that app, but that sounds fascinating. So virtual reality as art. How far are we away from an award show that awards virtual reality worlds?
I think there are a few already. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there are a few.
And are they taken seriously by artists?
We're hosting an Art and VR event on September 20th, actually, where we kind of bring in artists from the community, and we have both a combination of like tech and art. It's pretty cool, kind of like South by-ish,
Yeah. So in closing, what would you like people to know about virtual reality? Two things. What would you like them to know about it in a positive way, something they don't know about? And two, what would you like to tell them don't be scared of?
Okay, so I'd say with VR, expand beyond just VR, first of all. Understand that VR and AR, immersive tech in general, will change your life in unbelievable ways. Every single time you're interacting with a computer, you're interacting with a 2D device that is just not natural to your existence. And having a 3D immersive experience is much more human, actually. So you know how people get annoyed when people are always on their phones at concerts? That is going to be eliminated when you have AR headsets, because it's going to be integral to your experience and fluid and seamless in a much more beautiful way. So I think a lot of people fear the kind of overtaking of technology as intruding into your life. But in a lot of ways, the reason why we feel like that's happening is because of the way that we're interacting with technology. And AR and VR are actually a seamless integration of our experience with technology, so that I think will actually go down, and people will actually find they can actually live their lives more intuitively because they're not fumbling with a camera phone. They can just at will record things just by tapping or by more intuitive gestures.
Fascinating. Thanks for telling us. And my prediction is, yes, one day adult films will discover virtual reality. But that's for another show. Thanks. I've been speaking with Ned Atkins of Upload VR. Next up, a real fashion innovator, Ianad from Fashion on the Square. We'll be right back.